That's it. Opening prayer. Check. It's funny how you can do something over and over. I've been doing this for more than a year, and you just forget. Or that's what I've been talking about really in this book, the Untethered Soul. How things can just distract us, just totally in that moment, just distract us. And actually, I feel that like that moment was actually being in the present moment and not being distracted by the order that was there. And I don't even have to ask for any forgiveness. We just kept going. You see how that works? That can work in life too. We don't have to stick to the script all the time. We can be present to the moment. So I'll pat myself on the back. I really came out of that one pretty good, right? Well, you see what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying. So we have this week and next week that I want to finish up with the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And I've been enjoying it. I know some of you are reading it, and some of you are confused by it. Some of you got more clear about it, and then, you know, that's the way it is. That's the way it is with spiritual material, because we live in the physical world, and while we are spiritual in nature, you know, we still have to do the laundry and do the grocery shopping and take care of the kids, and that's what happens. So it's balancing all that. But last week I talked about that. I mentioned that we all have BS. And I said we all have this thing called our belief system. And our belief system is what we have gathered into our subconscious from all of our experiences. It contains all of our opinions, all of our dreams, all the things, all of our thoughts and emotions, all of the things that we've gathered in this lifetime are in our subconscious mind. They exist in our subconscious. And everything we encounter during our days, during our waking hours, is impacted by what we carry. So something happens that doesn't fit what we've built in ourselves. We've taken these pieces of what's happening out here, we've built this structure. That's what Michael Singer was talking about. We've built this structure in us, this model, and it gets hit. It gets hit by things, particularly things we disagree with, or things that don't fit the model. But this subconscious, our belief system, contains all of our opinions. Can you imagine? All of our opinions, everything from the environment to the politics, to alternative medicine, to, I mean, name something. We have opinions about everything, right? I mean, we do. Look at Facebook. There's plenty of opinions on there. Look in the news. Everywhere we look. Of course. That's in our subconscious mind. We have those opinions, and that's where they reside. It also contains our belief system, our BS. It contains what we think is valuable. Those things that are valuable in our life, our opinion about family, our opinion about friendship, our opinion about money, of what God is, all those things, all the things that we consider values for us, they exist in our subconsciousness. Those are our belief systems. It's also where things like our sense of purpose is, our sense of right and wrong, our sense of the goodness in people or the not so goodness in people. Right? Some of us believe that people are inherently good, and others believe people are inherently not so good in a lot of ways. And all those beliefs lie in our subconscious mind. And like I said, when we encounter a situation that doesn't fit the model we built, man, it's painful. We don't like it. We don't like it at all. We get into that place of sometimes resistance. Like, oh, hell no. Then we resist. Sometimes we get in a place of hopelessness or helplessness about it because we are just overwhelmed, because we have this idea and the outside doesn't fit it. All you have to do is look at American politics right now to understand what that is for you, how your model's being hit one way or the other. All right? And that's what it is. But listen, here's the truth. Here's the truth. If we want to live spiritually, we have to be brave enough to get beyond our model. If we want to live a spiritual life, we have to be brave enough to get beyond our model. We have to start believing, risk believing, that our model is not the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God truth. We have to believe that about our model. It is for us, but we have to believe in a bigger context that that's not the truth. Because it's just our model, after all. It's just our model. Here's another thing I want us to consider as we get started today. It's a statement I made from Michael's book in a previous lesson on Sunday, and that is this: everything will be okay when I am okay with everything. Here's what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean the horrible things that are happening out here are okay. It doesn't mean that the way someone treated me is okay out here. It doesn't have anything to do with out here. I'm okay with everything when I stop letting stuff get crammed up and blocked up in me. I'll be okay when my heart stays open and I allow that stuff, whatever it is, to flow through me. That I don't get it blocked up in there. That's when I'll be okay. And I'll be okay with everything because I'll be allowing love to flow through me. And that is more than okay. That is more than okay. That's what that means. Because there's certainly a lot of horrible things going on out here. There are hungry children, there are people who are being murdered, and there's just some horrible, horrible things happening in the world. And it doesn't mean all that's okay. It means I will be okay when I don't let that stop me up, when I continue to be a conduit for love. Let me read you a story that maybe you've heard before. It's an old Cherokee teaching. And this old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. Some of you have heard this. He says, "A fight is going on inside me," he says to the boy. "It's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferior, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego." About covers it, huh? He continued, "The other wolf is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. And the same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too." And the grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather this: "Which wolf will win?" And the old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed. The one you feed." Yeah. Let me tell you what Michael Singer says about this. What it means to live spiritually is to not participate in the struggle. See, it's not to participate in that struggle between those wolves. We don't have to. It means that the events that happen in the moment belong to the moment. They don't belong to you. They have nothing to do with you, in fact. You must stop defining yourself in relationship to them and just let them come and go. Are you hearing me? Events, let them come and go. Don't allow them to leave impressions inside of you. An event in the universe simply didn't match your model. If you're having that reaction of the bad wolf, of the evil wolf, it's just something hit that stuff in there that you haven't let go. If you have an event, it's just that the event in the universe didn't match the model, and it's causing a disturbance in you. Stop defining the disturbed mind as a negative experience and just see if you can relax behind it. When your mind is disturbed, don't ask, "What do I do about this?" and instead ask, "Who am I that notices this? Who am I that notices this, and which wolf am I going to feed?" Those are the questions we should be asking ourselves. Instead of getting in the place of anger and righteousness about issues that are going on today, which, by the way, gives the same energy to it as we don't want, the suggestion is to get behind it, to notice it, and to decide which wolf we will feed. Yes. It doesn't mean when we take that seat in consciousness that I've been talking about back there and observe, it doesn't mean we aren't passionate about what we do. It doesn't mean that we don't work tirelessly in an effort to combat hunger in the world or hatred or whatever it is that we're attached to in that way. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that we show up boldly and passionately with an open heart. We allow the love to flow while we're doing that, you see. Not in resistance to it, but while we're doing that. To have the open heart, to have love flowing in us. while we passionately pursue the things that are meaningful in our lives. Living spiritually really comes down to this question. And I've said that a lot in this series because he says a lot, so there's a lot more than just this. But this is one question that I think is very poignant to ask. And that simply is this. Do you want to be happy or do you not want to be happy? Of course, everybody's going to say, well, why is she asking that? Of course we want to be happy. Of course we want to be happy. You know what the problem with the answer to that question is? It's usually followed by a but. Now, if you say yes, that you want to be happy, it might happen that your wife leaves you, or your husband dies, or the stock market crashes, or your car breaks down on an open highway at night. Those things might happen between now and the end of your life. But if you want to walk the highest spiritual path, then when you answer, yes, I want to be happy to that simple question, you must really mean it. There can be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not a question of whether your happiness is under your control. Of course it's under your control. It's just that you don't really mean it when you say you're willing to stay happy. You want to qualify it. You want to say that as long as this doesn't happen, or as long as that doesn't happen, then I'm willing to be happy. That's why it seems like it's out of your control. Any condition you create will limit your happiness. You simply aren't going to be able to control things and keep them the way you want. Here's the real question. Do you want to be happy from this point forward for the rest of your life, regardless of what happens? That's the question. Not waiting for something to happen. Not if and when, but regardless of what happens. Because things will happen. Hard things will happen. Tough things will happen. Has anybody in here not ever had a tough thing happen? Oh, well, we're in good company, right? And tougher things might happen. But here's what. A heart that is unattached to all that is a heart that still allows love to move through it. That's living spiritually. That's living spiritually. We simply have the experience. We live the experience. We don't pretend it's not fun, or we don't pretend it's fun if it's not fun. We don't pretend it's easy when it's hard. We live the experience in the moment, and then we let it pass through. And then we let it pass through. But some of us don't live that way. In fact, we make it our badge of courage to have been hurt so hard. We've been hurt so deeply. And we want everybody to know, like, that's our badge of being hurt, of having gone through something so hard and difficult. Whew. I remember when I had cancer, it's been a long time now, 1994, and a friend of mine who I became friends with, who was going through cancer at the same time, she started going to a support group. And she was like, don't you want to go to the support group? And I was like, well, at the time I didn't want to. I wasn't ready for that support group. But there came a time when I did go. And I did go for a while, and I got what I needed or desired or wanted out of it, and then I stopped going. And then she's like, why'd you stop going? Why'd you stop going to the support group? You know what? I had the experience, and I was done with it, and I was over here. I really don't like the term to describe myself, and I don't describe myself as a cancer survivor. I'm just surviving, just like you. I don't have to have that moniker on me. You see what I'm saying? I had the experience of cancer. It taught me a lot. I've learned so much from that experience. Have you learned stuff from your experiences? We have. But we don't have to continue to carry them with us for the rest of our life. There is no law that says that I have to carry with me for the rest of my life the fact that I had cancer. I don't have to carry it. It happened. Yes. It was serious, yes. But I don't have to carry it with me. I can open up my heart and let the love flow. You see, here's what happens. We lose sight of the bigger picture too often. Like, we're in this body, we spend so much time taking care of this body. I mean, the clothes we buy, the food we eat, the vacations we go on, how much sleep we get, what our hairstylist, going to get glasses. We spend a lot of time on our bodies. And think about this. here we are in our body in Wilmington, North Carolina, on this globe that is spinning around on its axis every day, spinning around, flying through space around the sun every year, flying through space in the Milky Way galaxy that is 200,000 light years wide. 200,000 light years wide is the galaxy we're in. That means 200,000, the time it takes light to travel 1 year, 200,000 of those wide, in a universe that doesn't have any edges. And you know what we worry about? That scratch on our new car. That person that pulled in front of us. Right? The fact that we're getting some gray hair. We've lost our perception about really what we are. It's a crazy thing to me. I still, every time I say that about the world, I still think, if a plane goes up, why can it even land? This planet's moving so fast, it seems like that plane would be like a year behind. I have to say it because it's what comes to my mind. See, we can choose to be happy or not. And I want you to seriously consider that. We can choose to be happy or not. No matter what. We can choose to be happy. I'm not saying we can laugh in every situation. I'm saying that it's not about anything out here. It's not happy because of anything out here. It's happy because we know that we can allow love to permeate us. It doesn't have to do with what is happening outside of us at all. We can be satisfied if we choose to keep our heart open. Now, here's another thing I want to share with you, and I think I knew this, but I didn't remember this. Because to practice unconditional happiness, to practice keeping your heart open, it's a high spiritual path. But I want to tell you, it is so powerful. You don't realize how, I'm going to try to convey to you how powerful that I believe it is. A friend of mine asked me, watch the documentary on Netflix called Heal, H-E-A-L. Take a look at it if you care to. There was one thing on there that I had forgotten. If I knew it, I forgot it, but it seemed brand new to me. And that is, the nucleus of an atom is 100,000 times smaller than the atom itself. 100,000 times. That means in an atom, 99.999999% of the atom is empty space. If that empty space was condensed from my body, my whole existence would fit into a speck of dust. And in fact, the entire human race, if we got rid of all that empty space in all of our bodies, and we just came down to the nucleus, the entire human race would fit in the volume of a sugar cube. If the nucleus was the size of a peanut, the edges of the atom would be the outside size of a baseball stadium. Now, that really isn't blank space. That space is filled with vibration. That space is filled with waves. It's filled with quarks and all these things of quantum physics. And I want to tell you, you have the opportunity to fill that with whatever you decide. You see the power in that? 99.99% of you can fill with the energy and vibration of love, of possibility, of joy. You can feel that. And you can heal yourself. I've been working on this. Ever since I became aware of that. We can heal because that 99.99% of it is the energy we give to it. So when we shut down that heart and close off love, we're closing off love to 99.999% of our body. Because the solid part of us is just less than a speck of dust. That, my friends, is powerful. So to carry joy, to carry love, is really to elevate the vibration in our entire being. And because those waves and vibrations and quarks and all things quantum physics unknown to me don't stop at the edge of me or the edge of you, that means we influence the entire world. That is the power that I'm talking about. I'm so excited to share that with you. And I was so excited to be reminded about that in that documentary. The fact that we can keep our heart open, that we can decide to be happy no matter what, has an influence and a power way beyond what I understood last week. I hope you're feeling the same way. So let's take those ideas into meditation today. Let's realize the power in the choice that we make to keep our heart open, the choice to be happy no matter what. It goes way beyond this physical body, way beyond, maybe even to the edge of the universe. So take a deep breath in and out. Please join me on the cushions if you so desire. Breathe that power in and out. That love, that joy in every single atom. All that space filled with the energy